been a while since I've visited this one, but it's time. It's time. We've talked about a demographic in the last month plus about certain people from an ethnic community acting up and making national news with horrific criminal behavior. Hello, Nikki. Hello, Lynn. Lynn, oh, you can't do this to me. You can't just eat and run. I was going to put out a buffet tonight. You can't just grab your doggy bag and go. Huh? So, there's an element that we as Caucasians have to realize. And if we're thinking people we know, hello, Big Curly. We talk about school shooters, mostly white, with the exception of a Hispanic male, a year or 2 years ago down in Texas in elementary school. They've been white. And the demographic? Upper middle class homes, Dylan Klebold, Eric Harris, the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. They just had one up in Evergreen, Colorado the other day. I don't even know the facts on that. It was totally overshadowed by Charlie Kirk's death and assassination. But I'm bringing this up because Kyle Robinson fits the mold. Kyle Robinson looks like average white guy. Short haircut, clean cut. They showed a video of him who was announced he got a $40,000 scholarship to a Utah university. He doesn't look like a threat. He had a gray Dodge Challenger. And you know what? Yes. Dylan Klebold, Eric Harris, I got real familiar with that case. I'm going to give a little backstory because I was right there when the stuff happened. Not at Columbine. That was in Jefferson County, which butts up against the southwest corner of Denver. And I was over at Northeast Terminal. I had done my stuff, my bus routes, and I would take the 48 downtown, go and do some stuff at my apartment, and then I'd come back to do my afternoon runs if I did not have a midday or a field trip. I'd come into the terminal, I'm like, where's all the drivers? I go in the main part, I go to the right where the pool table is and the TV, and they're all gathered. I said, hey, what's going on? And the black ladies were all there. Michael, there's been a school shooting. I said, huh? So I stopped and watched. And they're talking about propane tanks, and they showed kids falling out of a broken window, and I'm like, where is this? And we're waiting and waiting. Columbine Elementary. And one lady says, Columbine? Oh my gosh, that's here. And that rocked our day. I drove my afternoon routes. I got done and I went over to Martin Luther King Middle School, and I pulled up in the parking lot and there was no kids, no cars. I'm like, I've got my ASA route. What is going on? So I got out of the bus, turned it off, walked up. As soon as I went to grab the front door of the school, lady come out, sir, excuse me, what do you... I said, I'm the bus driver. I'm here to pick up ASA. Did you hear what happened today, sir? Everything's been canceled for the rest of the year. I said, for Columbine? Yes. They're afraid of copycat crime, so all after-school activities are done for the rest of this semester. Okay, thank you, ma'am. The next day, all I picked up was elementary and middle school routes. No high school. I did not drive my George Washington High School route. That was a shockwave, not just in Colorado, but nationwide. I believe that was the most deaths of a school shooting. And as we started to unpack the lives of Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris, they were disturbed as all get out. They did target practice with bowling pins in the woods with faces and little hair wigs painted on them, and did videos of this stuff before there was social media. And they claimed they were bullied. They went up, I read Cassie Bernal's story that her mother completed. Cassie Bernal had written in her diary the night before she had a bad feeling about the next day. Cassie Bernal was deepening her faith in God. Eric Harris walked right up to her in the public library at that school and said, "Do you believe in God?" And she said, "I do." That was the end of Cassie. There was a school teacher killed. I went to the memorial right over there. And years later, I went there with a friend of mine from Denver schools. And it was appalling. I said, "Man, I remember when this happened. Phil Driscoll, a whole bunch of Christians come out. They even made a song called Columbine. I was watching the memorial service. It rained. It rained every day. Snow, rain mix, cold. And they started bringing teddy bears and flowers and laying them up on the hillside. And it was awful. And today, we're doing the same thing that we did back then. We're just not paying attention to these damn kids. This is our next generation, folks. And they're disturbed. Hello, Franny. Hello, Gripin. Kyle Robinson was apprehended. Supposedly his father gave the tip. If he gets $100,000, I hope for the love of God he gives it to Charlie's wife and kids. That'd be the sensible thing to do. Supposedly he asked his son, "Is that you?" "Yeah." "Did you do this?" "Yep." The guy wrote things on the bullet casings. When you look at a kid, and when I drove a school bus, I'm going to tell you something. When I was in Duluth, with white kids, the ones I had the most trouble with were the ones you'd think wouldn't. Clean cut, short haircuts, dressed fairly okay. They were the biggest smart asses, the hardest to deal with. Run their mouth, you'd tell them and they'd argue. And one thing I will say about our Caucasian race is somebody can look like a choir boy and they can be a certified ASS holy. And that is what separates my race of hardened killers from some of the black behavior you see. You look at the face of the guy on that North Carolina bus, he looks evil. And it's not because he's black, okay? Let me distinguish. He looks darkness. But when you look at Kyle and his other pictures, you never know that that crap was in his head. It was the last few years he started to smith out his angry political viewpoint. And I wanted to say something because it needs to be stated. When is the last time you've seen somebody trying to assassinate a Democrat anything? Tell me. Melody wrote on my short today where I said, more than any Democrat, I said Charlie Kirk was more of a man than any Democrat ever. He loved God, this country, and the truth more than any Democrat ever. I did it in black and white for the somberness of it. Melody wrote, I understand where you're coming from, but he was a fake. Don't be giving into emotional logic. And I wrote her back, I said, that is false. Charlie Kirk was not a fake. And I am equally disturbed by people who got college degrees and wear the right clothes and they don't dress femme like me. These guys got some dangerous minds. Charlie Kirk was not a fake. I don't know him personally, but You cannot be a fake and stand boldly for Jesus, just stand for truth and have rapport with all them college kids. There's no way. There's no way. I'd be curious to know about the home life of Mr. Robinson. He does not have the face of a killer. But neither did Timothy McVeigh. Timothy McVeigh, military, flag-waving American. Somewhere his mind got twisted up. Took a U-Haul or a Ryder truck, loaded it with fertilizer, pulled up the Alfred Murrah Federal Building, walked away with a remote, detonated it, blew the whole face of the building off, killing people in a daycare center, black, white, Hispanic. And he went to the death chair with that smug punch me look. I have no regret. That's always a good sign that somebody ain't right upstairs. You got an issue about the government. Why are you taking it out on these people, office people, and a daycare with kids? They never do make sense. And it is disturbing in our race. Charles Manson, Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, the Green River Killer. The blacks don't got that. We do. We do. I'm an equal opportunity critic. Why in the Caucasian race do we have so many disturbed people? They don't just do something, but they do it big to inflict as much pain and damage as they can. The KKK? Absolutely. But guess which party started that? I've never supported the KKK. When I was a kid, I heard about them. I remember they were burning crosses and they wore these conical hats and white robes or whatever and all their crazy buffoonery. Strom Thurmond, longest running politician, I think he was 100 years old. Racist as hell. And a black woman stood up one day and said, "He's the father of my boy." Michael does not support racism. Michael never supported Jim Crow, the KKK. I was born in '66, not 1865. Slavery is far removed from me, and it's far removed from anybody living today in America. What makes a young man? He got a scholarship. He had a Dodge Challenger. I don't know what his job was, but not every youngster has a Dodge Challenger. What makes him snap? Hey, baby, what city is that? San Antonio. Now, where did Rosa Parks do that? Was that in Memphis or was that in Alabama? Where did Rosa Parks refuse to move to the back of the bus? That was Birmingham. Birmingham, right? I believe that was Birmingham. And the South, they didn't let things go. And I'm going to say it. I live down here, but I'm not a Southerner, thank you, God. The South were buttholes. It took the South a long time to knock this crap off. All the way into the 60s. But I want to say something. Because unbeknownst to many in the black community, they didn't like redheads. They called us children of the devil. There's a lot of funky stuff in the South, even to this day. Funky stuff, funky thinking. I do not. Michael does not like rednecks. People say I'm a redneck only when I get sunburned back here. But I'm not a redneck. I don't support that mentality. Rednecks scare me. There are what we call them hollers in Georgia or the South that I ain't going to drive my truck down and want to get lost in on some country road. Because some of them good old boys scare me. White boys. I don't want to be around that. I didn't grow up with that. I grew up in LA. My dad went to work downtown LA. We lived in the suburb of Torrance. I heard about the news. I remember as a kid being in the backyard, I had a transistor radio playing, and I kept hearing something about Watergate. I was a little boy. What's Watergate? I'm playing with the hose. I'm thinking something to do with water. The world was spinning when I was a kid. Chaos. Vietnam, the 60s revolution, the 60s civil rights. 2 years before I was born, Dr. King and JFK were taken out. The 60s was not a good time to come into the world. My mother at one point thought of adopting Vietnamese children. I'm really glad she didn't when I see what happened to me. You got a guy that's got a scholarship. What part of the brain ceases to function properly that he's going to go shoot somebody and throw away his life? Because once this is determined, I don't know if Utah still employs it, but when I was in civics class or U.S. history and government, Utah was the only place that had a firing squad for the death penalty. I think it's a fitting end for that man. Rehab and all this, no. You make a decision to kill somebody just because you disagree with them, you've lost your freedom. That guy on the Charlotte, North Carolina bus, there shouldn't even be a trial. Here's the video, Judge. Here he is. That's it. And Trump's pushing for the death penalty on that one. And somehow they're invoking a federal on that, and it might have to do with the city bus. Because on the city buses that I rode, causing a disturbance on this bus could result in, I forgot how long in jail, or a $250,000 fine. The federal government subsidizes city buses and light rail systems. So, I can deal with hillbillies. People think they're weird, but they're not. They're not rednecks. West Virginia's got them hillbillies up in the hollers in the hills. Some of them are a little weird. Those snake handler churches, I don't think I want to go to those. I ain't playing with those snakes. Hey, Mr. E-Rock. I posted a few shorts with Doc and music in the background, yes. The left is the problem with the hate and the violence in tandem. Did you hear what Gavin Newsom, they're playing some of these old tapes. Gavin Newsom said we need to punch these people in the mouth. Do you remember hearing him say that? Gavin's a soy boy. I'd like to see him in a fight. That'd be comical. Him and Justin Trudeau and Bozo the Clown, put them all three in a ring. See who wins. Bozo would probably beat them both up. Hey, Eugenia. The problem is the left doesn't want to admit it. They talk about January 6th being an insurrection. Maxine, Democrats have said things on the TV, on the media. Now some of them are doing backtracking. Some of them are doing a backtrack and making it look like they don't condone what happened to Charlie because they're watching people lose their jobs. An older clown from MSNBC shot off his older mouth. He can now sit in the unemployment line. Eugenia, what's OMG? What's that for? Anybody want a chocolate donut? This one's sticky too. You're kidding. This is not steel? How the heck? I thought that was dang steel. That's steel. My mug is not steel. I know that ain't aluminum. What the heck kind of metal is this? That is not aluminum. Why is that? How about this in Hong Kong? What kind of metal is this? Is this real tin? Weird. I just found that out. Oh gosh, Franny, you might have been sitting in the pokey. I think a lot of that was orchestrated by Pelosi. Problem with Donald Trump, he doesn't play his cards close to his chest. January 6th, we're going to go down. Those clowns on the left were listening, and they went into action. Yeah, but hold on. I thought stainless, it sticks to my sink. What in the world? It doesn't stick as well though. That is strange. Why does it? I'm learning something. It sticks to the outer edge of the stainless steel, but not the inside. Same with this colander. What about that? My knife? Yep, sticks to the knife. But it don't stick to the fork. Wow, I just learned something today. I need to start my own science class. Wow, man. Bought this at the flea market. This is cool. Graniteware coffee pot, the old cowboy coffee. See that stuff percolating up in the little glass thing there. These are old school. It's even got some fine holes in the bottom. This thing's old. Old. Can't put water in it. It's got a couple little perforations. I think Antifa was involved in that. I think the Democrats orchestrated some of that. And I am not saying that Donald Trump is perfect, but I thought it was funny that the left was screaming about all that. I said, hold up, left. You were silent about riots from Portland to Oregon all the way to damn New York. Billions of dollars of damage, and you're crying about January 6th. That's really cute. You guys stood there and applauded the riots. Go figure. Hey, Blue Dust. Oh, Nancy, yeah. And she tried to demonize that hair salon owner. That was disgusting. She come out of there and she goes, this is a shut up. It's a shut up, all right, you drunk clown. You telling everybody to come through my house, that's what you said. You come through my house without a mask, you're going to get fined. And you walk in a hair salon, and Gavin Newsom wanted all those places shut down. Except when he needed to go to a French restaurant with his wife and a medical entourage, none of them wearing masks. Tee-hee, tee-hee. The left is not credible. This isn't, I just agree to disagree. They're wrong. They've encouraged double standard. They do not model. They push socialism, and they're filthy rich. They enjoy the extreme privilege of capitalism while pushing socialism. They're not sharing their wealth with anybody. And Kyle Robinson is a product of leftism. Hey, doggy, you took what personal? Oh, the Nancy Pelosi thing? I hope you don't take me personal in a bad way. I'd be sad, Eugenia. I went to the store today, buy some groceries, toilet paper, towels, my Prilosec, toiletries, some food. $105, Walmart. I remember when I was in Spokane, 2009, 2010. Let me figure this out. No. 2010 or 2011. I went to Super Value or Super One Foods. I paid $42 a week to get my groceries. 2010, 2011. How much stuff has jumped since then is ridiculous. But I'm getting off topic. Kyle goes and does that. Complete chicken. I don't have any sympathy or empathy for him. People are saying it's so sad. Yeah, what happened to Charlie and his wife and kids? But this knucklehead, I don't have any compassion for him. You grew up in a free country, and you don't allow somebody the right to have a different viewpoint. And this is a reality in our midst. Look at AOC. Everybody that voted for Trump for the first time, there should be a list made and they should be denied employment. She went on public TV with that. Why does she still have elected a position? That flies right against the face of our Constitution and the, the voting process. Where are you going, Lynn? You gonna go party? It is a double standard. It's disgusting. You live like kings, filthy rich. You're worried about the environment. Oprah Winfrey's a classic. I love to pick on Oprah because she's so full of cheese. And I'm looking at her weight. She eats too much cheese. 8 mansions, count them. 8. How many mansions do you need? Wow, Mr. Ewok. I'll tell you what, there is no comparison, George Floyd to Charlie Kirk. I'm gonna put column left and column right. George Floyd, career criminal. Charlie Kirk, a man of integrity, honor, and modeled what he believed. End of story. and they want to put statues and murals, and there was a place, was it Ohio? Pennsylvania? Did a big mural on the side of an old liquor store building of him. And God had had enough. Man, I know that this was a God thing. A bolt of lightning had hit that building that had stood there for, gosh, 100 years. It didn't hit the other side. There's 4 sides to a building. It hit dead center in the face of Mr. Floyd and blew the bricks and the mural off the wall. Destroyed it. And I posted that on Facebook and I said, God said, I will share my glory with no other. You want to make a hero out of an evildoer? God is not going to have it. That'd be like us making statues of Adolf Hitler, or Mussolini, or Stalin, or Lenin, or Xi Jinping, or Kim Jong-un, or Charles Manson. Why would we do that? Why would we do that? I have never been to it. Are you going to axe throwing? Oh my gosh, don't mess with Lynn. Don't mess with Lynn. She's one of them Vikings. She go to the Viking Fest and the log rolling and the axe throwing. Yeah. I'm going to start calling you. What's Hagar the Horrible? What's his wife's name? In the comments. Was it Helga? Curly, I don't understand what you're saying. George Floyd was loaded up on fentanyl. That's why it rolled down on the back of the patrol car before he went out again and got the knee in the back, and he kept saying, I can't breathe. He was having breathing problems because he had COVID, the heart condition, and fentanyl overdose. I believe that if the police had not responded, he would have died on an overdose by himself. Lynn, you have fun. Be careful with that axe now. Okay, Scarface, whatever. Don't be putting your face in a mountain of coke. Doggy, what are you doing? Stop misbehaving, man. They made a lot of money, and the woman who headed that up went and bought a home in Malibu. A big, nice place. Candace Owens went to knock on her door, and she didn't like that. She even did a video and posted on social media. Candace Owens is here to harass me. No, she's asking where you took all the BLM donations and bought this. Cute. Real cute. Supposedly, there was supposed to be an investigation and all that. I guess they, as is typical with the left, they let that slide. Yeah, but there was an original coroner's report. The family hired somebody else. They didn't like the coroner's report. That's what I was told. So the one you're talking about is the second round. O.J. Simpson was the same damn thing. Those jurors were spineless. Circumstantial evidence. There was blood in the Bronco. The Bronco chase. What a joke. Let's talk about privilege, okay? Ronald Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson were high-profile people. Ronald Goldman's family was well off with the jewelry business. Nicole was well known as a celeb, married to OJ, and if he wasn't guilty, why is Al Rollins and him taking a joyride? Not once the police throw down a spike strip and flatten the tires of that Bronco. If that had been Michael Nelson, there wouldn't have been that whole circus theater at all. They would have been BAM on my truck right now. That bird in the air, they would have had a tail gunner blasting away at my truck. Trust me. That was another case that was tried by ridiculousness. They tried to make Marsha Clark look bad. I think, even though people criticized Marsha Clark did a good job, then they kept focusing on Furman. That whole thing was nothing but a poop show. He did it. I know he did it. Tyler's moving into a decent place. Good deal. I'm moving on up to the east side, to that deluxe apartment in the sky. Jefferson's was a cool show. George was such a tight one. Honey, I think we need to go on a cruise. Okay, you can go on a cruise. No, I mean us. He was such a crab. How does Kyle think that what he did was right? What is it about these young people? They're obviously not thinking. Did he really think he was going to get away with this? Did he really think he wouldn't be caught? He just goes back into his life, goes back to where he was. I think he and his buddy were sharing an apartment. And the police let him see the buddy's Discord and messages that Kyle sent. You know, I tell you what. I'm glad they caught the son of a gun. Oh, Mr. E-Rock, I cannot. Voice text on any phone is terrible. I speak clearly. I will read what I just said. Man, I didn't say anything close to that. How does this do this? It's almost like it takes all my sense and throws it in a blender. It adds other ingredients that I didn't put in there. Talk text is terrible. I hate doing this, so I'd rather talk. Well, I notice AI is taking over Google now. You ask a question and now AI is giving you the answer. Scary. I do, doggy. Well, they used to say I talk like a Filipino. They told me when I was in Minnesota, I had an accent coming from Arizona. And then after I lived in Minnesota, they told me I had a Minnesota accent. I guess you just pick up on stuff. Doggy, you better not do that. You'll drive him away. Man, I was in the store today and somebody's going loud mouth in the store. Y'all, whatever. Y'all, I hear that all the time down here. Yeah, so I'm glad they caught the killer. My question is what is going through his head? If I'd have seen him on the street It wouldn't have registered that this guy's an assassin. That's the scary thing. You walk past people every day, you have no idea about the crap that's in their brain. Be careful with Neeks, man. You got a good one there, doggy. Play it cool. I'm giving you wise counsel. Listen to your father. Doggy, I am your father. Yankee is faking it. Technically, I don't know what I am because I wasn't a Yankee. I was in California. What did the people consider us back in the day from this part of the country? What did they have to say about California? We weren't part of all that Civil War stuff. Hippies. Oh boy. Hippies. I've had people call me that. My uncle believes long hair is a hippie thing and he does not like it. And he's from Virginia. Was that a coworker? Some little incident in a motel in Dallas. The black woman observed the guy went in and got a machete out of the room, had an argument with somebody and started hacking him, and she said 50 times and then chopped his head off. Isn't America a great place to be now? Beheadings, knifing on a bus, sniper on the roof of a campus. And the bad thing about church is we all got our backs to whoever comes in the building. That's bad. The only one facing the back doors is the choir and the pastor. I like to see who's coming in and going. I like to sit in a restaurant and sit in a place where I got a view of the whole room. I like to have my escape route planned. Some clown walk in, opening fire. I'm one of those that familiarizes myself with emergency exits on an airplane when I'm going to Hong Kong. Of course, a lot of good that'll do at 36,000 feet when all you're flying over is the ocean. And the stewardess says in your seat may be used as a flotation device. I'm like, great, that's comforting. The engines blow and we're at 36,000 feet. I wonder what that landing on that water is going to feel like. And then I'll be on my seat cushion sitting there and here come all the sharks going. I'm like, oh, what's up, bro? Oh, crap. Baby shark, na-na-na-na-na! The pastor at the Assembly of God, before he passed away, he was armed with a pistol. He said, I hate to say this, but I bring it into church because I'm not going to let anybody harm my parishioners. I respected him for that. Well, I can't see these things. Wow, I have to zero in. Okay, I can barely see it. Weird as fook. Hey, didn't the Pontiac Firebird have an IROC on the side? E-Rock? I remember that just now. The 80s Pontiac T-Bird. The IROC. That was the car to have if you wanted to date in high school. That was the date mobile for sure when I was in school. We had a guy whose name was Max. And all the girls love seeing Max in that car. And then I find out years later that Max was running a pimp ring in Prescott. I'm like, what? Unbelievable. Again, this goes to show you, you never know what is going through somebody's mind. See, people come into the chat and give me a hard time with my hair and my outfits, but I'm not the one making the news. Taking lives is crazy. Z28. I remember the Datsun. Those were cool looking. They had the long hood, the two-door. Those things would be worth money. I have not seen them. Thank you, Curly. I appreciate that. Everybody plan on getting freaky. I should go downtown. I should. I should take a walk. In fact, let's do it. I want to turn this off and I'll see you guys again down by the river. I'm out of here. Catch you.